I'm Ryan Snellings. I'm the site expert over at Clipperholics, which is part of Fansided. Thanks for taking the time to do this today.
Yeah, no problem.
How's your ankle feeling?
I'm sorry, what?
How's your ankle feel?
It's feeling better today. I would classify myself as day-to-day.
Day-to-day?
I'm hoping to be ready to go on Wednesday. We'll see how I feel tomorrow.
Okay, that's good. Start us off. Do you mind talking about this Real Winners Care campaign and just kind of how you got involved with that?
Yeah, I'm actually really excited to partner with Dove Men+Care on this campaign. The thing that really hit home with me was the Real Strength Manifesto and just the celebration of fans and the impact they have on the game. And the manifesto itself, I read it and I loved it. And the thing I loved about it was just that, all of us, whether we're fans, players, coaches, alumni, we're all part of something bigger than ourselves, and we're all very fortunate to be part of this great game. And so the manifesto just sort of speaks to the unifying power of that passion and care that we all have for the game.
All right. I know at Duke you definitely got a lot of hate. How much has it changed since you've been in the NBA? Yeah, a little bit. How much has it changed since you've been in the NBA?
Early on in my career, I still got booed every time that I played in Charlotte, and every time that I played in DC. They stopped doing that a few years ago, so that was nice. I still have to deal occasionally with the random fan who yells "Duke sucks," and the random UNC fan who screams "Tar Heels," as if that means anything. I don't know. But in terms of just like sheer animosity and I don't want to say hatred, but like just kind of intensity, nothing can really compare to college and sort of playing on the road and dealing with that experience. It was very interesting.
Oh, I'm sure. What do you think now? How different do you think it is now for kids in college dealing with fans, especially with social media being relevant? I know the kids in college, they're getting it 24/7 as opposed to you, where you were just getting it on the road.
No, I was still getting it 24/7. My cell phone number was passed around a lot of college parties. I think I went through about 12 cell phone numbers between my sophomore and my junior year. Would get the random 3 phone call calling me an antichrist.
Oh my goodness.
So it was still 24/7. I always tell people that I don't know if I would have made it past my sophomore year at Duke if social media existed, just because I was probably more of a frat kid than I was a Duke basketball player at the time, and I didn't have to deal with Snapchat. No, but I don't know that it's worse or bad than when I was in school. Because I played at Duke, and I just feel like when you play at a program like Duke, like you live in like this little fishbowl, and there's just constant sort of attention, and on the road, it's like a big rock band showing up for a concert, and 20,000 people come to listen to the band, except they don't actually enjoy the music; they just want to boo the music. So. It was hard. I don't know that that's changed for the worse or better now.
Okay. All right, I got one more kind of college thing. If either one of your kids ends up being good enough to go play Division I ball and looks like they're going to go to the NBA, are you going to take the LeVar Ball approach with them?
No.
No?
No, my wife and I have talked about this before. I mean, we obviously assume that our boys at some point in their lives will be interested in basketball, but we're not going to push anything on them. We want both of them to get a good education, and selfishly for me, I hope that they both learn how to code at a very young age, so that they can create the next great app, or possibly go to space, go to Mars. There's probably enough basketball players in the world.
Yeah, I respect that. All right. I guess we'll focus on the Clippers now. You guys just beat the Jazz on Saturday, winning that season series 3-1, and you're probably going to be matched up against them in the first round. What do you think the biggest factor is when facing them?
I think they're a very physical team, both offensively and defensively. And I think for us, we're at our best when we're the instigator. And so we sort of have to come every game with that mindset and sort of match their intensity. From a personnel standpoint, they have a very deep team. They have a lot of talent. And they have an all-star in Gordon Hayward, and then Gobert is playing at an unbelievable level. I want to say, I read somewhere the other day, I think he's maybe leading the league in win shares or something like that.
That sounds right.
Or maybe he's like the only guy behind Harden or something. I don't know. It's something crazy like that. I mean, he's been great, and the last 2 games against us, he's played really well. So it's really, you have to focus on those 2 guys, but they have so many other great players. George Hill's had a fantastic season for them. We beat them 3 out of 4 times this year, and we're up in the second half of the game we lost a few weeks ago in Utah. And I think the difference in that game was they hit 10 of 11 threes in the second half, or whatever it was, 11 of 12. So, if we play our defense in the half court and limit them to one shot, then I think we'll have a chance to win the series.
All right. And then, I guess it's probably still a little bit of a sore subject, yesterday's game. How do you guys bounce back from that? What's the team's mindset after finishing a game like that?
I don't know, because we had today off. We'll meet tomorrow. We'll regroup. I'm sure we'll watch some film. If anything, Doc will use it as a teaching point. For late game execution and for holding a lead. And I think, all of us, even myself, in watching the game, I think we can all learn from yesterday. Unfortunately, I just don't think we're at a point where we can have games like that. Given what we're trying to do for playoff seeding, it just shows you what happens when you take your foot off the gas for a second.
Okay. So you guys were in the spotlight recently. Not anything of your fault, but the Cavaliers rested LeBron, Kyrie, and Kevin Love against you on a primetime Saturday game. What do you think about the whole resting debate going on in the NBA, and do you have any sort of solution for it?
From a player's perspective, I think rest, and when you use rest the right way, good thing. I actually don't like what they've done with the schedule over the last 2 years in eliminating back-to-backs, because what has happened is you just play every other day, so you don't have a lot of 2-day or even 3-day breaks between games, which I felt like we used to have all the time. And the other thing, when you just play every other day, you actually don't have any time to practice. So whatever computer algorithm they've used the last 2 years, they need to change that. And I think going into next year, where they're going to add 8 or 10 days, whatever it is, to the regular season, I think that will help. So that's from a player's perspective. From a fan's perspective, we're running a business here, and we want to put out a good product. So I get the gripe with not playing players, and obviously, people would say, like, we have the whole off season to rest, I get that too. But the reality is, an 82-game season is grueling, and a lot of these teams that are resting players, like the Cavaliers, have a bigger picture in mind. So I think for a lot of fans, if you're a Cavaliers fan, and Ty Lue is saying we're resting players for the big picture here, you're saying, okay, that's fine. We want to win another championship. If you're, a kid in Santa Barbara who drove 2 hours down to LA, and your dad bought tickets for the game to watch you, or to take you to watch LeBron play, you're upset, and I get that. So it's a conversation that's happening, and it needs to continue to happen. And I think if we can just figure out a way to involve sort of all parties, the league, management, coaching, players, fans, we all sort of have a say in this.
Do you think shortening the season would be something to look at, or would you be kind of against that?
To me, I'm happy with my paycheck, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to shorten the season unless they figure out a way to continue to increase revenue with less games.
Mm-hmm.
I think shortening the season is a non-starter. I like that they've eliminated. To me, I think you need to play maximum 4 preseason games. I think it's 6 now that you can play, but I would just continue to eat into October.
Mm-hmm.
With the way that our league works now, especially with social media, but guys having personal trainers in the off season, no one shows up out of shape in September or October for training camp anymore. Like guys in the 90s, 80s, used to hear stories about guys that wouldn't touch a basketball for 4 months, and then they'd come into camp 20 pounds overweight, and they would use October to get back in shape. And I just don't think you can afford to do that, because if you show up to media day looking overweight, it's posted everywhere. Everybody knows it. It's embarrassing. It just doesn't happen anymore. So I think you just can, if you want to figure out a solution, you just continue to eat into October, and you figure out a way to make the games, I guess more spread out based on that.
Yeah, that would make sense. I wonder if they would even look into pushing the playoffs a little bit later, so some teams, I guess.
Yeah, I think you could also shorten the playoffs. So
yeah.
I don't necessarily think there should be where you play on a Sunday and don't play again until Wednesday. If you play Sunday, let's play Tuesday. I'm cool with playing every other day in the playoffs.
I guess they wouldn't think about considering dropping it back to 5 games in the first round, because that's taking away revenue right there. So I guess they can't really look at that. Did you see ESPN's article the other day about the league and their peanut butter and jelly sandwiches?
I have not read the article.
You have not?
I've not read the article.
All right.
I
Well,
have not read it, but I did see it.
Okay.
I did see it.
Yeah, just to give you a summary.
A lot of play on Twitter.
Yeah, just to give you the summary, it was just talking about how it's a league-wide epidemic. Every team's getting their own type of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches before games. All these teams have specific ways they want it made. I think it was Portland has to have half of theirs toasted now because they got it at some away game and decided they liked it. Talked about how you guys go to Whole Foods before every game or get something. So, How do you take your peanut butter and jelly?
Well, I was a pretty vocal opponent of the initial ingredients that we were given at the beginning of the year. I think a PBJ is a very classic thing, and you don't mess with the recipe. It should be classic white bread, Jif peanut butter,
Mm-hmm.
and Concord grape jelly. And I don't think there's really any wiggle room right there.
Not even with strawberry?
No, strawberry preserves are disgusting to me.
Oh,
but
man.
if you like strawberry, if you like your peanut butter crunchy, I get that. But the health food peanut butter is disgusting. Justine's makes a decent one, but it's not the creamy goodness of Jif. And really, the other thing too is have you ever tried to spread the Whole Foods jelly?
I have not.
Oh, it's a really hard task. So I just like the classic ingredients. We have a lot of bread options:
Mm-hmm.
whole wheat bread, classic white bread. I think there's some spelt bread as well. But I do go with classic white for me.
Can't fault you for that. All right. Last thing I really got for you. You said your podcast is coming back at some point this summer, just sometime after the season ends, I think. Do you have anything you can tease us with? I know you said you wanted to get Bill Murray on there at some point. Did you make any headway there?
Bill's going to be on at some point.
Okay,
He's
that's great.
I've got some things lined up for the pod. I've got 8 or 10 guests lined up that I'm really excited about, and then I've got some other things in the works as well. In talking with some different people, so some projects that I'm really excited about, and all that stuff will be done in the off season,
Mm-hmm.
and will start back up at some point this off season.
All right, I'm looking forward to it.
Thanks, man. Okay.
It looks like it's about time to let you go. thanks for taking the time to do this, and hopefully we can do it again sometime. And best of luck going forward.
All right. Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it.
Yep, have a good one.
Thank you, Ryan. Let us know if there's anything else you need.
All right, thank you.